Alright then, my name's Chris Dangerfield and welcome to my channel, you children of parents who traded in your Atari games console for half a pint of gin. This will be my new internet crush, a young lady called Ashley V, and she does shit to me. She hasn't quite responded to my endless tweets and other social networking stalking, but they usually don't until they get scared, so fingers crossed that'll happen soon. I'll just move that out of the way though. Anyway, so let's talk about Tourette syndrome. If you don't know about Tourette syndrome, let's face it, everybody does. It's a condition characterised by tics, frequently physical, but more often and certainly more famous for being verbal, and usually stuff that has been dredged from the unconscious, and is usually the most certainly an inappropriate thing to say in the given situation. It's kind of interesting. It's strangely, well, perhaps not strangely, unarbitrary. It tends to have something to do with the situation and is this kind of stuff. It's like the opposite of tact. It's like the opposite of politeness. It was invented in the mid-80s by the BBC, who put out a documentary called John is Not Mad, brackets, just extremely funny. And this went out in the evening, and of course by morning everyone in my school had Tourette syndrome, and 30 odd years later, they've still got it. Many TV production companies have been dining out on Tourette syndrome. You can go online and have a look, you can find it, and there's a best of Tourette's 10, or now that's what I call Tourette's 100, etc, etc. But for the few of you who aren't aware of how it manifests itself, and for the majority of you are but just know it's hilarious, here's some little clips.
Right, hello, I'm Heather from Citizens Advice Bureau in Galashiels. That actually helped at all.
Fuck off, nosy.
Absolutely. And we sound as advisors like we're asking really nosy questions. Okay.
Chopper dyed his pubes
I'm
ginger.
just going through the list. Don't shoot the messenger.
He dyed his pubes ginger.
The next one is propriety of behaviour with other people. Yep. This person would be expected to tolerate the behaviour.
Fuck off!
Quite. That's not a very good wording for it. But there is somebody...
In fairness, worden isn't a very good word for word either, but...
Your dogs get tits!
...in the law and thought it through at last. And I'll leave that with you so that you can have a look at it.
You're very helpful.
Then there's more on. Did you mean it or not? That's the dealing with it. So I'll leave... That's how the points work now, and they are better than the old points. Everyone on incapacity benefit.
Okay, so you get the idea. Now, there's a reason I mention this. Now, the first thing is, I haven't got an issue with people with Tourette's. It must be a fucking nightmare to live with involuntary tics of any kind, but ones that have such an obvious impact socially. You know, it's fucking difficult. Take it from me. But there's a reason I bring this up, and let's have a look at it. I've made a couple of videos about comedian Sophie Hagen before. I like Sophie Hagen. She interviewed me once. I think it was just an excuse to talk to me for a while, which is all right. And I really liked her. We really got on. It appeared she hadn't contracted full-blown social justice at that point. And I think she's also a pretty good comedian. And there's not many good comedians. Not a lot of people that I'd like to say that about. But I liked her. And then there's been this sort of slow decline into sock just insanity. Now, I'm blocked from her Facebook feed, which is always important in this world where no one has any mutual friends. And it's weird because about 20 people sent me this post, and I get that a lot. I get a lot of people happy to discuss things or ridicule things or be appalled at things privately, and they happily say to me, I didn't want to have this conversation in public because, you know. And it's like, well, yeah, weirdly, I do know. There's a lot of pressure on people, you know, to maintain what is perceived as the moral high ground at the moment by these lunatics. So, yeah, let's have a look at this. And this is going to blow your mind. Here we go. Right. Facebook page, a request for assistance. Hi, fellow comedians. I have a question. A man has emailed me to let me know that he is coming to see me on tour. Now, that's kind of interesting. No one's coming to see you on tour. They're going to see you at a gig. But it's important if you say on tour that everyone will know you're on a tour. That might sound slightly obsessive of me, but in the larger context of how this person operates and how virtue signalling operates, you'll see that it's absolutely not an accident that he's going to see her on tour. He's coming to see me on tour and that he has Tourette's. First of all, it means that he repeats a lot of the things I have said out loud. This is at a gig. This is at a gig where essentially one person is talking. And that he will be shouting homophobic, transphobic, racist, sexist and anti-Semitic stuff during the performance. Okay? Okay, they say that distraction is the enemy of stand-up, and as someone who's performed a lot of stand-up, I can tell you that's true. When you tend to be thinking a few moves ahead, you're looking at callbacks, you're looking at calling back improvisations, and you're generally having to concentrate on something that you're given the impression of as just being a casual, relaxed speech. You know, you're given the impression of doing almost the opposite of what you're doing, and someone's sitting there shouting homophobic, transphobic, racist, sexist and anti-Semitic stuff might cause some issues, because if it didn't, she wouldn't be mentioning it. You see how this shit works? I told him that my show is asterisk. It's important to separate is and make no difference to its meaning. I told him that my show is about some of these topics, and he said that would only make him shout out more. I don't know what to do. Obviously, he is so welcome. Obviously, if it was that obvious, you wouldn't have had to have said it. But obviously, he's so welcome and can't help his disability. But there will be 100 other people in the room. Obviously, he is not welcome. This is crazy. What's someone with Tourette's at a gig? He's going to dominate that situation. He's going to keep shouting. He's told you that. He's told you the nature of what it's going to be. Now, Sophie Hagen advertises her gigs as anxiety-free. How she can say that, how she can promise that, how she can even assume that is beyond me. A group of people out drinking at a gig. How do you know what is going to trigger people? You don't. You cannot guarantee that a walk to Tesco's is going to be anxiety free. But because these people don't actually give a shit and it's just self-aggrandizing virtue signalling, doesn't really matter. And a lot of the people who come to see me are riddled with anxiety. You said it, darling. And a lot of the people who come to see me are riddled with anxiety because my shows were announced as being anxiety safe. That's an interesting angle, really. It's like a very well disguised bigotry of low expectation for people with mental problems. They come to see her because they're announced as anxiety safe. I mean, these people, they don't look through listings and go, oh, that looks like a good comic, or that sounds like an interesting show. They're literally like, are any of these anxiety safe? Is anything here anxiety safe? And when they find the one gig that is, they go along. Nothing to do with content, just to do with safety, social safety, emotional safety. It's a safe space. I also get a lot of trans people in my audience due to the fact that I've made all the toilets on the tour gender neutral again. She doesn't get trans people at her gigs because they might like her comedy. Oh no, she's managed to drag them in because they can have a piss. It's just ridiculous and irrelevant to the questions. This whole post could have been summed up in one of the lines she used further down. This is just, oh yeah. Oh, people come to my shows because they're safe. Oh, I look after everyone. I also get trans people there, yeah, because they can use the toilet. Because in other venues, they're stuck with just male and female, which is absolutely fucking fine. A lot of people ask me for trigger warnings. They email to ask about certain topics in the show. Just a random disconnected comment. Just more, oh yeah. Oh, they email me and ask me because that's what I'm like. That's what I'm about. That's who I am. I'm a carer. I look after people. If I emailed them all... If I emailed them all and said there was going to be someone shouting these things, I'm pretty sure a lot wouldn't come. Yeah, you're pretty sure a lot wouldn't come for every good reason. It's not right for this environment. It's like saying, oh, hi, Sophie, I'm a sociopath. I'm a psychopath, and I often hit and hurt and stab people. And I know that you're so welcome, but no, that wouldn't be right in that environment. It's not great having mental problems. It's not great having every problems. But what makes those problems not great is they have consequences socially. You're expecting to allow someone with Tourette's into your gig. He's so welcome. And he's going to fuck it up. The only option is to call it. And like I say, that gig's going to be about that person. Because as soon as you deviate from engaging with the Tourette's, it's just going to keep coming. That's what it does. It's intentionally inappropriate. It's intentionally disruptive. It's intentionally seeking attention. I'm not saying the sufferer is, but that's how the disease manifests itself. So I'm pretty sure a lot wouldn't come. And if I didn't email them to warn them, I'm scared they'd walk out or be triggered by the situation. Yeah, you understand the problem here. It's an easy answer. Mate, you're not welcome. Now, this is one of the things that Hagen does. She has made it public that you can email her and tell her any of your special provisions. You can literally say, I'm coming to your gig, and the thing is, I can't stand the sound of people laughing. So if you can make a little booth area, and this is what people do, they ask for special provisions. Now she's talking about 100-seaters on this tour. Let's say it's a 30-date tour. That's a lot of people. I mean, as she grows in popularity, imagine having a 5,000-seater. And they've been attracted to you because they're social justice lunatics with all their special requirements and their endless triggering. Can you imagine what kind of madhouse that is going to be? Not because of their mental problems, but because of your attempt to accommodate them in a situation that will not. Now, this is the only sentence that's required. I don't know what to do. Does anyone have experience with having someone with Tourette's in their audience? And even that sentence wasn't really necessary because she's already said it. I'm sure if I emailed people, they wouldn't fucking come. And if I didn't email them, they'd all be triggered because it's a ship of fools anyway. And you've got someone there who's blatantly said he's going to be anti-Semitic, homophobic, sexist, racist. I mean, this is kryptonite to social justice people. Someone's sitting there literally going, gas the Jews, fuck niggers, kill gays. You know, just basic Islam. So, the real question that didn't need asking but would have been certainly more succinct than the rest of this absolute self-aggrandizement is, anyone got any experience with this? He also requested that I don't really mention him. Well, you're going to mention him or you're not, which is an amazing provision. I'm going to be there, I'm going to fuck up your gig, but you can't call it. It's like the ultimate heckler. I have to tell the audience at the top of the show that he's there, which is mentioning him, really. And they'll have to approve what I'm going to say first. I mean, do you understand the madness of this situation? And it's not just this example. It's this whole anxiety-free, safe space, trigger warning, content warning, fucking anxiety-free bullshit that is going down. He wants a copy of the script. He doesn't want to be mentioned, and he's going to ruin your gig. Can I come? So he'll have to approve what I'm going to say first. He doesn't want me to pick on him when he shouts something. Last line. Vile. I am heartbroken. I don't know what to do. Help. No, you do know what to do. It's in the body of text that you've just written. It's not going to work. You already know this. This is ugly as fuck. Now, you'd like to think people would just call that, but no, echo chambers are echo chambers. The reason people like me are blocked from our account is because we might question the religion of social justice. And there are endless, there's 39 comments of people just joining in, just repeating the mantras. You know, they're at the church of social justice and they're doing what's required. But there are a couple of classics. Let me see if I can find them. Hang on, let me see this. This is beautiful. Hang on. Oh yeah, there's another one of her posts. What a surprise. Right, here, look. So someone says this, and this person don't stop yabbing either. She wants the world to know. Oh, she cares. Oh, she cares. Acha Marafor. I think it's both possible to let your audience know in a sensitive way, but also do your show. He's not heckling, so I'm sure that the audience will be fine and adapt to what will at most be small interruptions. Oh yeah, the audience of anxiety-free, safe space people, well known for being able to adapt to things. Yeah, sure. That's why they need all their insane special provisions in the first place. Also, people with Tourette's can also have anxiety and be trans and so on. So I feel like this is another sensitive accommodation. You can make a disclaimer for anyone who is easily startled or overstimulated. Fucking disclaimer for people easily startled or overstimulated. Don't go to a comedy gig. Go and talk to a professional about sorting out your life. And they can take that into account. And he can also enjoy the show. This is what Hagen says. That's the thing. He is both trans and anxious. But I'm not sure if that's something I should tell the audience of at the top, as it's not really to do with his Tourette's. At this point, I start thinking the geezer that's written to her is a Poe. This is an absolute piss take. I've got Tourette's. You can't mention it. I want to see your entire set before you do it. I will repeat what you say. I will be sexist, racist, homophobic, anti-Semitic and transphobic. And I have anxiety and I am trans. You know, if I was gonna send a joke email for a laughs, it would be this. It would be this. Anyway, it goes on, and everyone's chipping in, and everyone's like, oh, I know someone with Tourette's. Blah, 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 blah. Right. So after all that, the answer, the solution she's got is pretty much based on what she knew in her original post, that this isn't going to happen. This is not going to work. But check out this solution. Thank you, everyone. I read through his Twitter feed and his blog and learned a lot about his specific condition. Tourette's is far from the only thing he suffers from, and I'm going to offer him a performance in his house or in a similar space with his friends and family and partner. He is autistic. He's autistic, he's trans, he has anxiety, he's got Tourette's, he wants to read your script, blah, 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 blah. He is autistic and therefore struggles with understanding jokes. And he has said in a blog post that he often needs jokes explained. So if I do the show to him in his living room, he can also ask questions. Oh, I can see this being really funny, really entertaining. It's really how, you know, these are the ingredients that go into a great gig. Yeah. And ask for a break when needed, etc. He also suffers from anxiety, and just going to a gig makes him feel bad. There's got to be a wind-up. Not on the part of Hagen. Oh, she wouldn't risk that. You don't want to get excommunicated. You know, there's a terrible penalty for apostasy from social justice. Oh, yeah, you'll get blocked on Facebook. Anyway, so just going to a gig makes him feel bad. So hopefully this won't come across as patronising or excluding. Hopefully it will work for everyone. Thank you for your advice and input and for sharing your experiences. I've learnt a lot today. And Andrea Ferrelli went, that's great. It's not great. This is a disaster. This is a cultural disaster. This is regression. This is stupidity. This is the most pure virtue signalling in the world. It's chronically self-aggrandizing, and it's the opposite of stand-up comedy. What you are doing here. Now, I can't work out whether Miss Hagen and all her social justice friends have just got no real relationships in their life, and so it's a question of trotting out keywords and becoming part of that cult. Whether they are insane or whether it's just a good way of getting bums on seats at otherwise not that interesting stand-up shows. The fuck is happening?